we'll fire someone. We'll see if Judd can correctly guess it.
I think I know where this guy works. I think I know exactly where this guy works.
But we've been celebrating this Vikings Victory Monday here on the show today. But I don't think we should forget about the other Victory Monday. That's right.
I think I have a banner.
I got my Gopher hat on, Gopher basketball, but that's okay. We'll get a Gopher football hat at some point. Let's get into some Gopher-related statements, and if I could do the honors here as the chief boat rower of the show. The Gophers are now 4-0 on the season, and they have jumped into the top 25 rankings for the first time. And my first statement is, the disrespect is palpable of this Gophers team. This team has destroyed all 4 teams they've played, including 2 Power 5 teams. Okay, I get that Colorado is not a very good team, but it's a Power 5 team. And Michigan State was ranked, 11th a week and a half ago?
Before they played Washington.
Yeah. They didn't just, forget how to play football entirely. I get that they've had a couple rough weeks against 2. Washington's a legit team, and the Gophers are a legit team. The Gophers are ranked only 21st and 23rd in the AP and the coaches polls. They are absolutely one of the 15 best teams in the country. And if these cowards had any courage whatsoever, they would have vaulted the Gophers up closer to the top 10. These coward, I don't know who these voters are, these coaches, these Associated Press, these nerd writers, cowards. This is one of the most dominant force college football teams outside of Ohio State and Alabama. And I am excited to row this boat straight to Pasadena or straight to the college football playoff. Well, let's get it.
And that's the poll that you care about has nothing to do with the Associated Press or the coaches poll. The poll that you care about, I believe, will debut in November. The college football playoff poll.
Yes.
Because that's the one where if this continues, you'll be getting some respect. RESPECT. You'll be getting some well-deserved respect.
So here's the current AP poll that has the Gophers. This is the friendliest poll. They've got the Gophers 21st, okay?
Yep.
You got Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. These are all pretty fine. Clemson struggled with Wake Forest, but Wake Forest is a good team. Wake Forest moved down from 21st to 22nd. USC, Kentucky, Tennessee, Oklahoma State, NC State, Penn State, all these are undefeated. I'm fine with all these. Utah 3-1, Oregon 3-1, Ole Miss undefeated, Washington undefeated, they're 15th. Baylor 3-1. Now we get into the reputations here, okay? Baylor 3-1, Texas A&M 3-1, Oklahoma 3-1, BYU 3-1, Arkansas 3-1. A lot of reputation in those 5 or 6 spots ahead of the Gophers. Okay, sure. A Gophers team that, by the way, beat Auburn less than 3 years ago in a January 1st bowl game. So it's not and the Gophers kind of went toe-to-toe with Ohio State for the first 3 quarters last year too at the opener. So they can hang with some good teams and beat some good teams. I just think this team is, with their schedule too, unless they have an unfortunate blip, hopefully not, 21st will be disrespectful in retrospect.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, just had to get that off my chest there to start the show. Back over to Judd here.
All right, off the Michigan State game, and there are plenty of things to talk about, but I want to. My first statement is just going to be a meat and potatoes football statement, and that is the Gophers kicked ass in East Lansing. And here's why that's important. Not only was this a shellacking on the road, which is impressive, but you know what this was? This was physical domination. The Gophers did what you want, I think, any team in football to do, and that is they quickly took away Michigan State's will to even be playing in that game. They physically abused them. Ibrahim he was literally carrying tacklers down the field. The lines, offensive and defensive, were outstanding. This is the blueprint for what you want, which is, you know what? Tanner Morgan played great, and that's fantastic, and you hit some really nice plays. But the opening statement was essentially what I thought the Eagles did to the Vikings on Monday night. They hit them in the face. And then in the Gophers' case, they did it again and again and again. And every time you thought, oh, that's interesting, Michigan State might start to rally here. What did the Gophers do? They took away their will to be playing against them. That was as physically of dominating win in Minnesota football as I can recall seeing in recent years. And that to me is the most encouraging sign. It wasn't high flying, it was literally manhandling them.
Is there anything more football than a group of men imposing their will on another team?
Football.
We are going to move you out of the way.
Correct.
The Gophers, too, it kind of feels like they're passing more, but I'd have to compare. To this point in the season, the Gophers are averaging 53 rush attempts per game, which is third most in the country behind Navy and Air Force.
Interesting.
Just ahead of Massachusetts, Arkansas, and Army.
Okay.
So they definitely aren't pumping the brakes on running the ball. 52 rush attempts per game for an average of almost 300 yards and 4.5 touchdowns. So I'll look it up. Maybe they are. It feels like they're more like capitalizing more on the passing game, but I don't know. They're definitely imposing their will on the ground.
Love it.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so before I give my Gopher statement, just a quick little disclaimer. It shouldn't shock you guys, but also maybe some listeners who don't know my backstory. I have had no interest in Gopher football like my entire life. Mostly because like when I became a sports fan, like there were some nice years with Mace. Like I remember the debacle against Michigan, but it was like Brian Cupido and Adam Weber, and not a lot really to root for there with the Gopher football team. 2019 happens, fun year. They beat Penn State. They're storming the field. Even from an outsider perspective, it's like, man, that's pretty cool. Try to get, into it a little bit more in 2020 because the pandemic wiped out sports and thought, oh, this could be fun. And that was just kind of a really ugly, murky season. They weren't going to play. Then they were going to play. It was just ugly. And then last year, they started to pop up a little bit more. But I will say this as my statement. For the first time in my life, I am all in on the Gopher football team.
Wow.
For the first, you can call me a bandwagon fan. I don't care. I am all in on the Gopher football team, baby. I am rowing this boat. They got a great run game. They have an obnoxious head coach who's perfect for college football. I have already committed to a tailgate in a month with friends. I said I will contribute the funds to the tailgate
on Saturday against Purdue, baby.
And maybe there's multiple ones. I have committed to the Iowa one in a month. Or at the end of the season. I've already committed to a Gopher tailgate.
Judd can get you into the most prominent, prestigious tailgate on campus. It is the Nadine Babu tailgate.
Yeah, drop by Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. I probably will.
Dawn.
You'll actually hang out with me outside of public? I know we went to a Twins game on Friday.
We went to a Twins game together.
Yeah,
we took
Judd
a
and I
picture
went to a
together.
Twins game on Friday.
We took a great picture.
Yeah, knocked back some
Must
beers.
have been tough for you guys,
Great.
just probably getting stopped in the concourse by adoring fans every 30
Oh, yeah.
seconds. It must have been
all
tough.
over the
Might have
place.
been tough for
Really,
you
really
guys.
tough.
Here's the important thing. I have built up a persona. Nobody stops me now. It's outstanding. I actually walked the entire concourse from the press box at the Vikings game to the Surly Suite, and nobody stopped me.
Wow. Look at you, Mr. Celebrity, who has... Mr. Celebrity,
Omar
you know
and
that
I,
about
hanging out.
1,000 people probably recognized you because
Omar and
how
I.
wildly
Yeah,
popular you are. But they know not to approach you in public because
Because I put off that persona. Do you know how difficult it was to turn down a beer yesterday?
Oh, I bet.
Omar
I
asked
bet.
me, "Hey, do you want a beer?" And I'm like, "I'm working. I can't.
I'm a professional.
I'm
I
gonna try to
for
be
you.
professional.
I don't want to have beer on my breath in the press box.
Yeah, but I turned down a Furious Aura before I die.
Oof.
Wow. What a
But yeah,
test of willpower by
I'm
Judd.
in. I'm in
All
on
right.
this Gopher football
Okay.
team.
All right.
I'm all in, baby.
So I did look this up here, and it's tough because the numbers are always a little bit skewed in the first few games. You play some crappy opponents. It levels off in conference. But the Gophers ranked, so this year they are third in rushing attempts. Last year, and that's out of how many Division I? That's out of 131 schools. Third. Last year they were seventh They've actually added 7 rushing attempts per game. Some of that might just be, they're running more plays against bad teams or something.
Right.
But here's my next statement. Despite the fact that maybe they're still running the ball a lot, this is the Tanner Morgan we saw in 2019.
Stole my thunder, man. You're
Me
exactly
too.
right.
That's okay.
Now, it helps that he's about 38 years old. He's like Aaron Rodgers' age.
Married now with like 5 kids.
I think he's on his 3rd marriage now. Not quite sure. But Tanner already, and he's got his offensive coordinator back from 2019. He already has 10 touchdown passes. He had 17 combined touchdown passes the last 2 seasons. So I think he had 7 and then 10. So he's already tied for the most that he's had since 2019 in an individual season. He looks fairly poised, even though he lost his top wide receiver target. He did a great job spreading the ball around. They've got, it seems like they have depth and targets all over the place that just kind of step up, and he's doing a great job, as he should, 6th year in college football. This is how he should look, and he's delivering this season.
10 guys caught passes, right?
I believe
10,
that is correct.
10 guys, yes. And what does Soraka do that makes Tanner so comfortable? It's incredible to watch now.
Well, some of it's probably
you're exactly right.
Preparation. But so what was the name of the guy, the jackal that they had for a year or two? We did a deep dive in this last year that he has
Mike Sanford.
Yes, that
He's
guy
at Colorado now.
He has shipwrecked like the last 3 places he's been.
Yeah, you're
just
right.
Atrocious.
Yep.
So some of it might just be in the preparation. Some of it might be play calling, but the preparation leading up to the game. How comfortable do you feel and stuff? So, yeah, I thought having Rashad Bateman is probably the difference, and it did make a difference in 2019. But he's putting up similar numbers so far.
Yeah, he's looked like a different guy. He, in my opinion, should have been benched last year. He's now back to being, to me, a guy who could at least get into a training camp to try and play.
I could see a camp arm.
He's not a starter, but I mean, he was almost unplayable at times in 2021. So that was really impressive.
He could be a camp arm for sure. I could see that. Yeah.
All right. My next statement on what we saw on Saturday. This was not a fluke. This was not a, but you're going to play. To Phil's point, look at the schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, it does not include Michigan or Ohio State. Michigan State, while certainly they had a terrible day, is not a terrible football team, all right? Look at the rest of this schedule and tell me that your expectation with how the Gophers went on the road and completely steamrolled the Spartans, tell me that your expectation now is not incredibly high, and it should be. Because you didn't win that game in the last second. It wasn't we escaped with a win. You kicked their ass. And that's Michigan State. Now look at the rest of the schedule. And Wisconsin, which I watched their game against the Buckeyes, and I know it's Ohio State, okay? But they got no quarterback. They have no quarterback. Wisconsin is as beatable as they've ever been. And by the way, the Gophers already have gotten past that step. So it's not like they never beat them. They actually do. Iowa has no quarterback. As long as they stick with that Joker Petrus, you know what? You're in good shape. And you get them here. So you have proven that you can take the axe in Madison. And I might say that the Hawkeyes game might get weird if it was there. But you got them here. Look at the rest of the schedule and tell me that you are pessimistic or, that was a fluke. No, it wasn't. This is very real. What is happening here is real. This is not a test. This is real. I know it's weird. I know it feels strange. And I know that there are people like Dex and us to a certain point, but certainly Dex, who are jumping on and telling you, make room on the bandwagon because I'm here. But
give me an or.
I think this is for real. I really do. It sounds so weird to say.
I love that. I can't tell if Judd is just raising expectations so he can cut these guys down later in the year.
No, they beat Michigan State. No, because they kicked their behinds.
I do want to highlight a couple games. I think we got to take it one game at a time here, okay? One game at a time.
That's not what Judd does.
So you are 10-point favorites over Purdue at home.
Wow.
The next 2 games after that are very difficult games. I know it's not Ohio State, Michigan, but at Illinois, this is not the old Illinois. This team has talent.
Yep.
This team has 3 blowout victories and a close road loss against Indiana, but they beat the crap out of Virginia and Wyoming. And then Chattanooga that doesn't really count.
Yep.
But watch what Illinois does in the next 2 weeks at Wisconsin, home against Iowa. If they win those games, and I don't know what the spread is on that Wisconsin game, but that is a game that if they beat both those teams, they're for sure going to be ranked going into the Gophers game on October 15th. And then Penn State is knocking on the door being a top 10 team right now. So if you can clear those 2 games, you will for sure be a top 15 team, maybe knocking on the door of like top 12 in the country.
Yep.
Then you get the Rutgers, Nebraska, Northwestern stretch where you should roll.
Make hay.
And then Iowa has one of the best defenses in the country, so even if they can't score, like it could be a 10-7 slugfest that you should win. And then Wisconsin. So to me, if I'm ranking games that scare me the most on the Gopher schedule, number 1 is at Penn State. Number 2 is at Illinois. Number 3 is at Wisconsin. Number 4 is probably home against Iowa. The other ones you should win.
And I think, so if you split those 2 games and you lose at Penn State, it's not a death knell.
No, you can probably lose. You might be able to lose two conference games and win your division.
Yeah.
As long as you beat Iowa and Wisconsin and get those tiebreakers.
It's about time, though.
Let's get it.
Yeah.
I got one more for you here. The Gophers' defense is absurd.
Yeah.
Okay. Last 15 games. So this isn't just like the non-con. This is the last 15 games going back to I'm not counting the Ohio State game because they give up a lot of points in that game. They've given up an average of 12 points per game the last 15 games.
Okay.
Here are the opponent scores. 0, 10, 7, 7 this year. 6, 13, 14 to end the year last year.
Yep.
27, 14, 14, 16, 23, 13, 14, 0 against Colorado last year. So single digits or shutout in 5 of the 15, and then 14 points or fewer in 12 of the 15 games.
Yep. You know what? Write this down. Joe Rossi is going to get a head coaching job after the season.
I think that is this official? This is official.
Sure.
Right
You're writing
then?
this down?
Yeah. Write
Okay.
this down. Joe Rossi is going to get a head coaching job. I mean, he has done he took a defense that was an abomination, that was embarrassing itself, and almost immediately made huge improvements. And now, to your point, Phil, it's damn good.
Yeah. You can tell opposing, because you're facing young, like 20-year-old kids at quarterback. They can't decipher what they're seeing half the time. And so the athletes on defense are excellent for the Gophers, but they also just seem to do things schematically that throw quarterbacks off. They see ghosts. So any other final Gopher statements before I jump in and steal Declan's segment and fire someone from the college football landscape?
You go right ahead.
Go ahead.
You guys
Go
good?
ahead. I'm curious who you're firing here.
Okay. I think Judd might know who I'm firing here, but this Gopher Love Fest here, presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Been around for over 100 years. They've been huge supporters of Gophers athletics throughout the years, and so I think we're all very happy to be rowing a boat right now. Very exciting. Federated is all about basically providing your business with a great offensive line, one that protects against risks on the horizon. You can find out more about how Federated can help your business at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. Ordinarily, it's that time where Declan wants someone's ass fired, and old Mackadak's going to come in here and fire someone's ass. So, Declan, you in the first part of Mackey and Judd today.
But you're going to fire Declan, right? So, Dex,
No.
So, Deck.
I just wanted to bring this to the show.
No, God, no. Declan's amazing. But you spent the first part of the show firing the Fox NFL pregame crew that's been around largely for 30 years. Like Terry and Howie have been in those same chairs since 1994, and Kurt Menefee since like 2006, and Strahan since 2007. So just, it feels a little stale. I was watching College Game Day again this Saturday. Judd, is this the direction you thought that I was going to go?
No, it's not.
Who did you think I was going to fire?
Mel Tucker,
Oh,
the Michigan State coach.
after signing the 9-year contract, whatever it was? No.
Yes.
So I've actually watched every single College Game Day so far this year, at least parts of it, because I enjoy getting up on a Saturday, putting on College Game Day, just seeing the atmosphere, where they're at, the signs and everything. And they did bring in Pat McAfee, who's incredible. Like, he is just a bolt. They got him right in the middle. He's a bolt of lightning. He sang Rocky Top and got the crowd going. Like, it's a genius move. They basically hired him away from WWE. Can't imagine what they paid for him. But the elephant in the room continues to be Lee Corso.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's so uncomfortable. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit is basically the ventriloquist, like the puppet operator for ventriloquist Lee Corso at this point. He's got notes that are clearly laid out in front of him, and they only bring him in like a few times per show now. But he's like reading off the notes and stuff. He can barely get through the headdress thing at the end of the show without stumbling. He's dropped a couple random like F-bombs throughout the last couple of years too, because this dude is a legend, and I don't want to see him go out this way. It is embarrassing what's happening with Lee Corso on Saturdays. And so I'm sorry if Lee can't step away himself. Maybe there's a way they can just do like a via satellite. Like he puts
a segment.
Yeah, like just at the very end. All right, let's go to Lee, and it's like Lee with. But man, they keep running him out there, and it's brutal to watch. I don't know if you guys have seen any of it this season, but.
I saw a clip on Twitter a couple weeks ago. I mean, I don't know what you do there because if you fire him, you're gonna get ripped, and if you don't, you're gonna get ripped. So there has to be a better way to do it.
Do you guys know how old he is?
80 something.
Yeah, I would have no idea.
87, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's 87.
Oh, I know. But I mean, he clearly doesn't want to stop, and they clearly don't know what to do.
So they brought in McAfee as kind of like,
right.
oh, let's
exactly.
raise the energy
and McAfee
here of
is
the show.
a genius. I mean, that is an off the charts dream edition.
And I know that we used to have a Mr. Fix-It segment on Mackey and Judd. Maybe we need to bring that back, the Mr. Fix-It segment. But here's what I would do, okay? Pat McAfee at this point would be 100 times more entertaining as the guy that pulled out who made the pick.
Yeah,
you could have McAfee do it for the next 25, 30 years, just like Lee Corso did it. Lee Corso handing that tradition off to Pat McAfee, who gets the crowd ramped up. Because Lee used to be great at playing to the crowd, but now it's like he can't even really play to the crowd because he's 87 years old. So, sorry, I got to say goodbye to Lee Corso, man. Mm-hmm.
McAfee singing Long Neck Beer with Luke Combs 2 weeks ago was like seriously some of the best television I've seen in a long time. It was so entertaining. It's so much fun.
He just leans back and he goes,
Long neck. Oh, it's great.
So, all right. Well, we just fired Lee Corso there. So
that's okay.
Pour one out for old Lee Corso.
Thanks, Lee.
You can check out Vikings Vent Line if you missed it after that win against the Lions yesterday over on the Purple Daily YouTube channel and podcast feed. Please click subscribe on both the Score North and Purple Daily YouTube channels. We are within striking distance of 50,000 combined subscribers across the two channels. So
love it.
I think we had an agreement where at one point, if we reached 50,000 YouTube subscribers, Declan would have to brush and ride a horse.
Yes, we did.
I don't know where that stands. We can check with Pulford School.
No, that stood in a year. It was a 2021 goal. So that is off the board. I am not brushing or going near a horse.
Okay.
You were never intending to see that through, even if it had happened within a year.
Yeah, I would have weaseled my way out of that.
You really would have.
Yeah,
I think we would have had to drug Declan and bring him to my hobby farm that I grew up on.
Your fear of horses is really incredible.
It really is. Okay. I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow here on Mackey and Judd, Daily Minnesota Sports Entertainment.
Bye, Mr. Ed.